To make it to the UFC is what every martial artist dreams of, you know, to lace up those gloves for the first time, to be able to step foot on that mat and put on a show for the great fans of the UFC.
Look at that uppercut. Marcus attack, looking to finish it here. This is why everyone's been talking about Connor's all over.
The EA Sports label has one of the worst reputations. They no longer try to innovate the sports genre, but instead make minor tweaks to some gameplay elements and roster updates. After one mediocre MMA game that was quickly forgotten, EA secured the UFC license and is giving another go inside the octagon. Will they have more success now, or is this another disappointing game? First thing I noticed was how good this game looks. I played this on the PlayStation 4 and the amount of detail in every fighter is incredible. It's not just the detail in the models that's impressive, but also the smaller things such as sweat, blood, and even seeing a fighter's chest inhaling and exhaling. I hope EA can find a way to have these kind of graphics translate into all their games for the new generation of consoles.
Oh, he's hurt. That's it. That's it. The fight is over. Cain Velasquez wins by TKO. Round.
Even though the game looks great, it all comes down to gameplay, and this is where UFC starts to fall short. It's not terrible, but it needs some work. When you're standing, the gameplay is very similar to previous UFC titles. 2 face buttons are your hands and 2 are your legs. You have basic attacks and can modify the attacks using the left stick and the shoulder buttons. This gives you a wide variety of moves to choose from, and most will carry over to any fighter you choose. Blocking is done by holding the right trigger. You can modify whether you're blocking your head or your body by pressing certain face buttons. This gives you the opportunity to parry and dodge attacks to set up counters. One thing I like about the blocking system is that you can't simply hold the block button down. The longer you hold it, the less effective your block will be. This forces you to try to use your blocks strategically instead of just holding down the trigger for the majority of the match. Fights are fun when you're standing and trading blows, but when the fights go to the ground, it's a different story. In previous UFC games, there was a very complex set of moves you had to do in order to gain the advantage on the ground. It was a little too complex, to be honest. However, EA has made it a little too simple. In order to change positions, all you do is rotate your right stick in one direction. If you want to go into a full mount or do a flip from a submissive position to a dominant position, you can hold down a shoulder button and rotate the stick. While it's fun to get into full mount and rain punches and elbows on your opponent, it's just too easy. Another huge problem is the ability to stand up whenever you want if you're in a submissive position. No matter what position your opponent is in, all you have to do is click the left stick to initiate a stand-up attempt. Unless your opponent is trying to constantly counter this, you can just spam this move to escape. For game modes, there's a Fight Now option, a Challenge mode, and a Career mode. In Career, you have a basic Create a Fighter system, and you start out fighting your way through the Ultimate Fighter TV show to get a UFC contract. From there, you fight tougher opponents until you retire. Between each fight, you have the option to complete 3 training drills. These would have been great if they taught you something new or strategies for your upcoming fight, however they are usually just punching a bag and following button prompts. There is one where you simply grab your opponent and then release him. You repeat that 10 times and you're done. This teaches you nothing about fighting in the clinch or how to do any moves. You may even have a UFC star come to the gym to train with you, but nothing changes. He's just your sparring partner. Training is a wasted opportunity of teaching the player how to develop their skills. You also have perks you can equip on your character. You can pick a set amount depending on your level, and this will give you a slight boost to your fight. There are 3 categories: ground game, striking, and physical. If you're about to fight a boxer, then you'll probably want to focus on getting him to the ground. It's an interesting system that gives you more abilities the higher you rank. I didn't even realize it was there until about 10 fights into my career, as it's hidden in the menus, but I still didn't notice much of a difference after equipping them. It's another system that just feels like it wasn't thought out enough. Rounding out the package is a challenge mode, which basically works as a tutorial. There's an online mode called Champions, where you can fight in a tournament or against a random player. You're assigned a belt color depending on your experience, and you can only fight people of the same belt color. This is great for people who struggle with online play and hate getting matched up against some veteran players.
He was in perfect position to block that hook. Lee with a solid sidekick.
Overall, EA Sports UFC is a fun but incomplete game. It feels like a step back from where the UFC franchise left off. This game needs more content and more depth. It would have been great to have challenges like recreating some of the best moments in the UFC. The game is still fun to play, and getting that knockout hit is a great feeling. I can see playing this game with friends and having a great time. However, unless you are into the multiplayer, the game will start to get old rather fast. If you're a fan of the UFC, then I'd recommend picking this up, but all others can wait for a price drop or just rent it. So what do you guys think of the UFC game? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Leave a comment below, like, subscribe, and thanks for watching.
And he gets up. Big shot to the head. He's hurt. Oh! He connects with the left. He's total domination. It is all over. Wow! Juggernaut, winner by TKO. Let's take one more look at the end of the fight here. This is a vicious series of strikes, ground and pound, that lead up to the TKO. We can see it here from another look. These are clean shots that are getting in.